You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
Oh, let me tell you something. I am so sick of Washington and all its works and all them politicians down there and them congressmen. I'll bet you won't find none of them congressmen signing down their electric blankets tonight. Which if they did, their secretaries would get up and go home.
We gotta do something. Absolutely. You know what we gotta do? Toga party.
Toga! 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 Toga!
Click, click, boom! I'm coming down on the stereo, ripping on the radio. Click, click, boom!
I want you to kill every golfer on the course.
Check me if I'm wrong, Sandy, but if I kill all the golfers, they're gonna lock me up and throw away the key.
All right. It's Friday night, which means it's time for Robinson and Wright. And for once, we're pretty close to on time. This is the Robinson and Wright Show, coming to you live right now from KLRNradio.com, where we do this thing every Friday night, typically at sometime around 11 p.m.-ish Eastern. And we are also now available on iHeart, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, FM Player, and like a bazillion other places that you may or may not enjoy podcasts. We have a lot of stuff to talk about this week, but, you know, the title of the show kind of says it all. We called it, and they know it, and you'll figure out what we're talking about in a second. Hey, Dan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? I know you're nail biting right now.
Yeah, I know, right? You guys know Friday nights, small town, football's pretty much all you got. My son is in a nail biter. It's an away game. I didn't go because it's like an hour and a half away from the house. They are now in second overtime and tied up yet again. So this may or may not be the end of my son's undefeated season so far, which I would say has me biting my nails, but I really don't have any to chew, so I may or may not have bloody stumps before the night's over with if this continues, because even the wife's like, dude, I'm seriously about to have a heart attack. That's what her last text says, right as we're rolling the intro, I get a text message that says, I'm seriously about to have a heart attack. First overtime is done, tied again, second overtime is starting now. I'm like, oh my god. No. But anyway, so yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about football last week, so we probably don't really need to do that quite as much this week, even though I kind of enjoyed that conversation better than the political one. But I have to say, as petty as it's going to make me sound, because I know it's terrible that everything that we have said was going to happen is basically happening, I'm really enjoying folks like Ann Coulter suddenly jumping on the Trump sucks wagon. It's been interesting.
Yeah. I had a couple things to say to Ann Coulter this week, and they weren't very nice, but almost more of a welcome aboard.
Yeah, and then you have Mr. Bill Mitchell, who is I guess frantically like trying to rescue himself because he's hitched his little wagon to the Trump train, and now that people are like, this is not what we voted for, he's like, calm down, people. I trust Donald Trump. I voted for his judgment. Then you were more high than I thought when you went in the voting booth if you voted for Donald Trump's judgment. I'm just saying.
Oh, I like the whole see what he's doing right now is he's just luring the Democrats in. He's playing them. Really? Is he?
No, he's
sure about that?
He's being played by them, maybe, but he's not playing them. You know, and I guess that's part of what has me the most upset right now, because people that I like and respect in the local radio community, people that I interact with all the time, and actually am actually still working on trying to get my show placed on that particular station. They're now using leftist talking points when it comes to DACA, because I hear them now all the time. Why is everybody so mad that the president wants to do something with DACA? Do we really want to send all these great kids home? They're not effing kids. 80% of the people that came here through DACA are now adults between the ages of 22 and 28 years old. What have they done to start working on making themselves legal now that they've been able to quote unquote come out of the shadows? Nothing, because they don't care about being legal. That's my problem. It's not the point that, you know, they were brought here, they didn't have any control over it, their parents did it, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. You know what? That's all great, that's all well and good. Once they're 18 years of age, they need to be given a point in time to start following a process to start either becoming a legal resident or a legal citizen. But by no means should they ever be jumped in front of anyone else who is trying to do it legally in the first place. But this whole thing now that DACA is supposed to be the end-all, be-all of whatever the hell we're working on right now, BS. I want Obamacare repealed, and I want somebody to put a muzzle on Uncle Speedo because he's running around talking about single parent for all. I'm over that crap. I don't want to hear about that. I want things fixed to the point where the government is out of my business, not further in it. And why are we not? What happened to working on the tax code? He did a whole victory lap when the Obamacare thing fell apart. But like, that's all right. We're working on taxes next. Really? You ain't working on nothing. You're having circle jerk sessions with Democrats. What the hell are you working on? Sorry, I'm a little angry.
Nothing. What has happened? What has gotten done? I mean, I was really hoping that the administration would start first thing after the inauguration with, to be honest with you, with tax reform. Well, instead they decided to start with Obamacare reform. How far did they get?
Nowhere, non-starter.
They got nowhere. Then it became tax reform. How far did they get? Nowhere.
Well, at least they made a run at the ACA. They haven't even done anything with tax reform. They just skipped over it and started talking about DACA because it's apparently some big deal now.
No, they just, I mean, we all know what happened with the ACA. It was, give us this turd and we'll polish it a little bit and see if we can get it passed. And they couldn't even do that. So we're still stuck with what we had. We're still stuck with the tax code that we had, and we're still stuck with DACA. So where are we? And there's no wall built.
I'll tell you where we are. We're at Obama 3.0, exactly where I said we would be. You know, but honestly, the person I feel the most sorry for is Jeff Sessions. Because he has stepped in as Attorney General. It's basically his dream job. If you've ever read anything or looked into Jeff Sessions at all, his big two goals in life were either to be appointed as a federal circuit judge or to become the Attorney General of the United States. Those were his ultimate goals. He's realized one of them through Donald Trump, but Sessions comes out and says, hey, we're going to start enforcing rule of law when it comes to immigration. And then Donald Trump comes right out behind him, cuts him off at the legs and is like, yeah, not so much. I mean, so for the most part, I really feel sorry for Sessions because he bought into the crap that he was spewing during his campaign and didn't realize that it was basically just a bunch of things that he had to string together to bring enough people along to make sure that he got the votes that he wanted. That's why if you'll go back and you look at some of the early interviews when he was first starting, when he was, drawing in the big crowds and there was all the rumors that he was paying people and this, that, and the other, he actually let it slip in an interview once that anytime he was in a big crowd of people, if he felt them slipping away, all he had to do was mention the word wall, and they were right back tuned in again. So that's why the wall was always a constant part of his speech, because it kept the people that were there to see him drawn in. Not because he actually wants one, not because he has any plan on actually building one, Because, I mean, let's face it, if they were going to do that, they could have done it already. The laws are in place to have already done all of that. All it needed was funding. But they can't do it, because they won't do it, because each side wants illegal immigration in one form or another for one reason or another. And that is what has made me the most upset about all of this, because for the last 10 years, I have been standing on my little anthill telling everyone that would be willing to listen that politics was nothing but a brand war. And I keep getting suckered in as I go along, and I get more and more familiar with people and start to get to know people that are on the inside of it, and they're trying to make changes, and they're trying to do this, and they're trying to do that, and like, well, come along with us. We're going to fix it. And then we do everything we can do to try to help push it to make changes, and then it all falls apart again, because once it gets to DC, whatever gets into DC never comes back out the right way again. And I'm just over all of it at this point. I'm tired of seeing friends take other friends apart at the knees because we differ slightly on one thing or another. I'm tired of the infighting. I'm tired of the backbiting. I'm tired of the press making fools of all of us, while Donald Trump is basically sitting back doing whatever he's doing, which is not a damn thing that we've elected him for. I mean, I know he's done some positive things, because if you look, you can find them. But every positive thing that he has done has been done exactly the way Obama was doing things. Everything that he has done that is positive has been through executive order. And that is not acceptable to me, because I don't like presidents ruling by edict. That makes them rulers, not presidents.
Absolutely. I mean, it's that's why I really haven't praised a whole lot of what he's done, because I did not like the EOs from Obama. And to me, if I praise any of the EOs from Trump, I mean, an occasional executive order is okay. Sometimes it's in order. But I mean, and I'll be honest with you, George Bush had a lot of them too, but George Bush had a very, very, very different situation, especially at the beginning of his administration, than either one of, either Obama or Trump have. I mean, there was some pretty serious circumstances at the beginning of George Bush's administration. I mean, I don't think anybody can argue that. But for me, if I sit back, and even if I agree with an executive order, if I sit back there and just go nuts and say how great it is, I'm just being a hypocrite, because all the EOs from Obama really ticked me off. So I won't sit back and praise them. I will say, Gorsuch, fantastic. Awesome pick. I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, okay, and I mean, some of his cabinet picks were great, but what was the thing? No. And the what's been done? Yeah, that didn't get done. Honestly, he is what we said he was. And we've been, I was saying it from the day he announced he was going to run, that he would be a mistake. And and boy, I get yelled at about it constantly, but I'll still say it. I'm glad Hillary's not president. I guess that's a plus. So we have Gorsuch, and Hillary's not president. That's about where I am right now.
Yeah, I mean that's not. I mean that's exactly where we are. That's where we are right now, and
yeah, and watching, we mentioned her at the opening. I mean, watching Ann Coulter now break down and say that basically Trump is toast. Well, yeah. What did we tell you? I mean, I told her, I said, I basically on Twitter, I said, you spent the entire election acting like a doting mother. And now what? I guess you're disappointed in your son? I mean, the people like her and, you know, Sean Hannity and John Cardillo all just now up in arms over Trump. Well, we told you.
Wait, Hannity's
We
up in
told
arms
you.
now? Because the last time I saw, he was still trying to defend him. Did something change?
He's trying to defend him, but he's trying to defend him in a kind of a, well, listening to him it's painful because he knows. He absolutely knows. No, he came out and he said a couple things of kind of like, what is he doing? Well, he's doing exactly what we told you he was going to do. As you were, you know, proverbially underneath his desk. I mean, if you want a cheerleader for Trump, Sean Hannity was it. And you're going to watch the backpedaling start to happen.
Well, he has to do it now to save what's left of his career.
Yeah. Yeah, I really hope he doesn't save what's left of his career. I don't think there's anything left of his career. I mean, Fox News actually moved him back to 9 o'clock, which surprised me. Because they gave Laura Ingraham a job. She's going to be on at 10. She's another one that's now like Trump is toast. Well, you know what? You're another one. All you did, all the way through the primaries and the election, was talk about how amazing Trump was going to be. And now you're backpedaling. And now she's going to be I'm waiting. Oh, I hope there's some more behind-the-scenes sound bites of her. Because those are some of the best in the TV industry. Of what a just complete and total witch she is behind the scenes on a television show.
So wait.
So that's what I'm glad for. That's what I'm glad for is Laura Ingram's going to have another TV show so we can get more sound bites of her being a witch behind the scenes.
So wait, so I know, well, there for a little bit they had, because I honestly don't watch Vox that much anymore, but I know that at 8 Eastern they had, I never can remember his name. Tucker
Carlson.
And then for a while they had the 5 coming on at 9 Eastern.
Right.
So what happened to them?
Correct. Well, what is happening is the 5's moving back to where they're supposed to be, which is at 5.
Yeah,
that's why it was called the 5. And Hannity is moving to 9 o'clock. Laura Ingraham is coming in at 10 o'clock.
Well,
so it's going to be Tucker, Hannity, Laura.
Honestly, the only reason I watch Fox News anymore, ever since they got rid of Red Eye, was for the 5 and for Tucker. I hadn't even really watched O'Reilly in forever because he had gotten to the point where he was so completely full of himself.
It's awful.
I mean, it's terrible. I mean, and I get it. The dude was like the number one TV talk show guy in the nation for like forever. But when you let it start getting to your head as bad as it was getting to his, it's time to go. I mean, and I've said the same thing about Rush Limbaugh, and that's hard for me to say because I grew up watching Rush Limbaugh. In high school, I found Rush Limbaugh on a TV show in high school before I ever even found him on talk radio. And I've listened to Rush for years. I've actually had stations that I've worked on where people have come in at the end of one of my shows that they've heard and they've been like, dude, you are literally the next Rush Limbaugh. I've never heard anybody that can do a solo show the way that he can, and you are about as close as I've heard since then. And that used to be a compliment. Now I hear people say that and I cringe. I'm just like, please don't ever say that again.
Well, no, you shouldn't cringe because as far as radio goes, he is a talent. You know, but I mean, he went the same way of people like Hannity. I mean, I used to religiously listen to Rush, and he's brilliant. He's a great radio guy. I took a lot of him as a little bit of parody because his sarcasm did it. But I liked that. I thought that was great. I would still take it as a compliment. Still a great radio guy. He may tick me off, and he may have let things go to his head, but still a great radio guy. If you listen to him, he's a great radio guy.
Oh, I know. I mean, you got to remember, he's the guy that basically started talk radio. Nobody knew what talk radio was as far as political talk radio before Rush Limbaugh. Nobody even knew what to do with it before Rush Limbaugh. He basically cobbled a deal together and got himself some airtime. And the only reason it ever even took off was a little company called Snapple that had just started. He was drinking it on air before they ever even started paying him. And he was about to go to a break, took a sip of his tea, and started talking about the tea and talked about how great it was. And all of a sudden, this little company that nobody had ever heard of started getting phone calls off the hook, and they kept asking people, well, where are you hearing about us from? We haven't even been around that long. And they found out Rush Limbaugh, this new guy who started this new format called political talk radio that nobody had ever really used before other than NPR, it was like some new big sensation. And I mean, actually, they had a partnership for a long time. They were one of his original sponsors. This is how much I part of why I do what I do is because I listened to folks like Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity back before they went nuts. And I took everything apart that they did. I put it back together. I figured out what worked. I figured out what didn't. And then when internet came along, I figured out there was a way for me to do it without having to be able to have an in to get to a radio station. Because that's the thing. There's this little known secret in radio that nobody tells you. It's not about how good you are. It's not about what training you have to a point. It's about who you know and who you can get in good with. That's how radio works. It's still one of the last good old boy areas where that's still how it works. So that's why a lot of these terrestrial guys that I'm finally starting to get in with, they hate internet guys. It takes me weeks, months to get in with these people and even get to the point where they will start talking to me because they look at us like they're redheaded stepchildren, and it's because some of them are starting to understand that everything is going to go the way of internet radio. And that's what I've been telling everybody now for nearly a decade was, wait until the 2020s, 2025, 2026. Nobody's going to say internet radio anymore. It'll just be radio because everything's moving to internet. Your TV shows are moving to internet. Your radio broadcasts are moving to internet because it's easier. It's cheaper to maintain. And we were one of the first ones doing it. Well, there are other people that have taken off faster than us, but lucky for us, most of them hooked their wagon to Trump to try to get rich quick. And I think when the dust settles, we'll still be here, still be strong, and everybody's going to go, who are they again?
Yeah, well, it's funny. You mentioned something that really kind of sparked something in my brain. And, with Rush and Snapple. And the other radio personality that really made it, and a big part of them making it as a sponsor, was Snapple. And it's who really got me into really loving radio, was Howard Stern. Howard Stern was, his first real big sponsor was Snapple. And that's how I got into talk radio, and then I got into listening to political talk radio. But, I was listening to Howard Stern when I was 14 years old. And to let everybody know, to show my age, I'm 49 now.
I was going to say,
I started listening to Howard Stern when I was 14. And that's when I discovered, there were a couple other shows in the Washington, D.C. area that I listened to, but I got to the point, at that point, I preferred listening to talk radio over music radio. And I'm kind of a quasi-musician, and I love music. But when it came to radio, I wanted to hear talk. If I wanted to listen to music, I listened to music. I did not like music radio. I did not like listening to, oh, yeah, this is a great song. Oh, but I'm going to listen to the DJ frickin' talk it up. I did not like listening to the DJ talk over the music because all they cared about was the lyrics. I didn't care about the lyrics. I cared about the music. I'll just listen to the music on my, I'm going to date myself again, my Walkman. And,
with the big fuzzy headphones?
When I want to listen to the radio, I'm going to listen to talk. I was listening to the Howard Stern show, and I was listening to Doug Tracht, who was the grease man in Washington, D.C. I was listening to talk radio when I was 14 years old. Great medium. Awesome.
All right. Well, believe it or not.
Howard Stern's another one, too. You can talk about somebody that lets stuff go to their head.
Yeah, well, he's always been that way, though. All right, well, we are at bottom of the hour, so we're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, we'll keep talking about the conversation, news and events of the day, etc. right here on Robinson and Wright. Friday night, KLRNradio.com. Where liberty and reason stay.
To the streets, that's where we can meet. You bring your sticks, I'll bring gauges.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
You're out here acting so tough.
Hey, Tariq, that bumper's for you, brother. Welcome back. This is Robinson and Wright. We're live right here on Friday night, KLRradio.com, where liberty and reason still reign. That's right. We've made an executive decision at the break. We're going to change topics because even though it's been kind of fun to point out all the points that Trump has done so far, where we've said, hey, we knew when this was going to happen, it's leading us both dangerously to the point where we're going to say words we really shouldn't be saying on shows that may or may not occasionally go over to terrestrial. Because every once in a while, if I'm short a show, I'll send over one of these, and they never really tell me where all they're going to run. So it's best to play it better safe than sorry. So anyway, we've decided instead we're going to bring up the next Al Sharpton wannabe, Mr. Tariq Nasheed, or as Dana Lash put it in very eloquent terms, a failed rapper who named one of his albums Wash Your Ass. Yes, that is Tariq Nasheed, who has now decided that everyone who has a lack of melatonin is a white supremacist.
Everyone.
Regardless of their actual race, because Ben Shapiro, who's an actual Jew, is a white supremacist.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro is he's part of the KKK front. He's a front man. It's their way of getting in by pretending he's a Jew. Really?
Oh yeah, dude.
His name is Ben Shapiro.
Yeah,
enough said right there.
Yeah, I mean, considering Ben is probably short for Benjamin or however they pronounce that. Not to mention the last name Shapiro. It's kind of a giveaway. I'm just throwing that out there. And it's just
right. I mean, he started a hashtag to go after Ben Shapiro, and Patricia Heaton basically quote tweeted him and said something along the lines of, "Well, it's funny because when Ben Shapiro comes to my dinner parties, he won't eat any of the non-kosher food." So maybe that's saying something.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that
to which Tariq Nasheed called her, Patricia Heaton called her a racist.
Oh yeah, I know.
A white supremacist. Called her a white supremacist. The woman who is on the board of and donates tons of money to a foundation that gives scholarships to black people. She must be a white supremacist.
Well, to be fair, some of that, I think, because if you'll notice in some of the areas where he's dropping the words white supremacy or white supremacist, they really don't fit very well. So if you go back through and you reread it and you put the word white privilege back in, which I think is the word that everybody was using up until 5 minutes ago, you would see that a lot of the sentences that he's using make much more sense. What's happened is they've gotten marching orders now that the phrase white privilege is no longer allowed. Anytime they would be using the phrase white privilege, they're now supposed to insert either white supremacist or white supremacy because it carries much darker connotations. And those are basically the new marching orders of the left, is anytime anybody says anything you disagree with, they're a white supremacist. What happens if they're Jewish? Who cares? They still look white, don't they? We can say they're not really Jewish. And that's exactly what's happening. Because there are actual people that don't realize that, Jewish is not just a religion. I was actually in the middle of a thread with a dude who was all over Jen from Jen and Rick, basically for trying to point out, Ben Shapiro, while he may or may not be a practicing Jew, is actually ethnically a Jew. And what's that even mean? So he can pretend to be another race? He's not pretending. Well, his family came from Russia. Well, yeah, you remember, the Jews were kind of scattered to the four corners of the globe at one point. So, yeah, they may have come from Russia because there were lots of Jews.
There was that actually bloc. At one point, and this would be before the Nazis, there was a big push to eradicate the Jews in Russia. But people ignore that fact. It's what it comes down to is that this whole, whether they want to call it white supremacy or they want to call it white privilege, what I've decided that the definition of white privilege is a person that is white that has worked really hard their whole lives to earn something. That's privilege, apparently. It's the privileges. I mean, I work very hard. I've been very successful in the career I'm in. I have. I don't, at the moment, have a lot to show for it. But that's my white privilege. My white privilege was being able to work very hard, be very successful in what I do, and get divorced and lose just about everything, and now work at getting it back. I feel so privileged right now. I'm so glad that my white privilege has given me that. I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. But I want them to keep pushing it. I actually do. I want them to keep pushing it, because the more they push it, the more people get really tired of hearing it. I'm really finding that. You know, I mean, whether they're tired of hearing it because it's against them, or whether they're tired of hearing it because they realize this isn't going to work and it's really going to hurt our agenda, it's really starting to happen. I see it. I have friends that are, and family members that are progressives, and they're kind of like, yeah, I don't know where this is all coming from, and I don't know where it's all going, but it's not going to work. But it keeps getting pushed, so let's let it go.
Well, I mean,
I've admitted it. I'm a racist. I'm a white supremacist, racist, misogynistic, homophobic bigot. That's what I am. Because that's what everybody calls me. So it must be what I am, so I'll just own it.
You know what? Instead of saying all of those terms, we should just, because the leftists reappropriate words all the time. We should just start calling ourselves supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, because by the time you string all those things together, it's about what it sounds like anyway.
I'm going to make a word out of every letter in all of those words. That's my mission by the show next week. And it's not going to be supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
So in other
it's
words,
going to be something else.
So in other words, you don't like my idea. Fine, I don't like you anymore.
No, I do. No, your idea sparked my idea. I'm going to take all of those words and I'm going to make an actual word out of them.
Nice. So yeah, right now I'm in an argument on on Twitter with a moron who's trying to compare ESPN, who's backed by Disney, to Fox Sports, because ESPN's been around for decades. Fox Sports has only been around for like 3 years. This dude swears up and down that Fox Sports, bid for NASCAR like 4 years ago, but they haven't even been around for that long. I don't really want to point that part out though, because basically
Fox Sports carried the race where Dale Earnhardt died in 2001?
Yeah, but I don't think it was like... I think back then it was like Fox Sports.
Oh, not like Fox Sports Cable.
Yeah.
It was actually... Oh. So Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 1's been around for at least 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, but not nearly as long as ESPN. So there's this big argument going on between ESPN and Fox right now. And I don't even remember what started it, but some dude was being a complete numbnuts. And I'm like, look, dude, it's pretty simple. Ever since ESPN started jumping to the left, everything's leaving them. I said they've managed to kill football. That I actually turned Rush Limbaugh on for a few minutes today because the wife and I were in the car headed to a funeral. And she didn't like the local guys that are on the other channel that I usually listen to, because the guy they have on right now on in that time slot kind of has one of those, like, you remember the teacher from Ferris Bueller Day Off? The dude that was like Bueller, anyone?
Yeah,
Ben Stein.
Ben Stein.
Couldn't think of him for a second there, so I was trying to find a frame of reference. But yeah, so he kind of sounds like that. Really smart guy, but just probably not the best person to do a radio show. So we flipped back over to Rush because, the wife listens to Rush when she's at work. So when we first turned it on, he starts talking about the football game he was watching last night, and he couldn't believe how empty the stands were. He's like, back in the day when football was making money, they had a blackout rule so that if there was a field that was empty for some reason, you couldn't see it on TV. He said things have gotten so bad they've had to do away with the blackout rule, because if they still had the same blackout rule they had for forever, then you'd never be able to see a game on TV. He said everywhere you looked, the stands were empty. And he said, no, granted, now most of the stuff from the seats, that's not really how football makes its money. He said that's how the visiting team recoups a lot of their traveling expenses, is they get like 40% of the ticket take. But he said he said it today. I mean, not in these exact words, but he's like, football's dying. And the weird thing is, he's not the first person I've heard this from. Everybody that I know that is involved in broadcasting in one way or the other, that has actually been talking to people, is like, we give it maybe 10 years tops and football's going to be no more. I was like, well, and I actually sat down and I talked to somebody the other day about it. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He said, well, take this as an example. He said, I am a Pee Wee League football coach. He said, I teach 4th and 5th graders to play football. He said, the area that I'm in, the schools don't do it, so we've got private leagues. He said 2 years ago at this time, we had enough players to do 16 teams. 2 years later, same age bracket of kids, we have enough for 4 teams.
Yeah. Well, I saw it starting to happen here a little while back. I mean, my son played it was right before he started middle school, and he had been playing on the same team. The way they did it here is you had a team, and it had 3 different levels. So you were on the same team. He was on the Hornets. So through 3 different levels of play, he was on the Hornets. His last year, they couldn't field a whole team. They had 12 players, so they literally have 11 guys playing both sides of the ball, being back and forth. Both sides of the ball. The whole season. The interest is waning. Now, when you talk about professional, I'll tell you that, and they're here this weekend, and this is going to be one of the rare weekends I actually miss it. The NHRA is here in Charlotte this weekend. Now, Fox picked the NHRA up last year from ESPN, and ESPN's coverage was horrible. I'll just say it. It was terrible. And when I started going to the drag races, when they built the drag strip here a few years back, I mean, it's been about, I think, 7 years now. They weren't selling out on Sunday. They were drawing a good crowd, but they weren't even selling out on Sunday for the finals. Now, they're selling out on Saturday for qualifying. They're packing that entire drag strip. And there's 2 reasons for it. The TV coverage is better on Fox, and pretty much politics stay out of it. It's fan-friendly. You can go into the pits. If you buy a ticket, you have a pit pass. You can meet the drivers, and politics stay out of it. The end. And I'm going to tell you, I mean, it's been amazing me that, I go twice a year, and on Saturday, which is just qualifying day, they're not actually racing. They're just qualifying for their spots. It's sold out. Football, the NFL, is only selling out, I think, 2/3 of the stadiums right now. And 20 years ago, you couldn't get a ticket to an NFL game unless you were paying premium price for it. Every stadium was sold out. If you start interjecting politics into sports, people lose interest. They really do. Even NASCAR. I mean, the NASCAR lost a little bit because management started voicing the political opinions. I don't like sports because I want to hear a political opinion. even if the political opinion agrees with mine. I watch sports to forget about politics. I watch movies to forget about politics. I watch TV shows to forget about politics. Start interjecting the politics into them, I'm not going to watch them anymore. I'll just listen to music. And hopefully I can keep listening to music where politics isn't interjected, but of course I have the music I like, so I can just listen to the stuff I've listened to my whole life. Do not interject politics into sports. Nip it in the bud. When you have a player that starts taking a knee for the national anthem, nip that in the bud. Don't start coddling him, and don't let groups come in and say, well, if he doesn't get a job, we're going to boycott. Let him boycott, because the majority of people that you're trying to get to watch don't care what those people say, but you're going to coddle those people. And the NFL is screwing itself big time. I'm watching it. I'm watching other sports, lesser known sports, grow right now because they don't want management, the management of the NHRA, they don't want politics. I mean, I'm not saying, you go out to the drag strip, yeah, you see some guy in his top alcohol funny car and it says Trump down the side of it. That's fine. That's one driver. But on a whole, they want everybody to keep politics out of it. You don't hear interviews where they talk politics or social issues. When they give them an interview, they interview about the race they just had. And that's it. And it's growing. The sport is growing. It's grown exponentially over like the last 3 years. The NHRA is just loving it. They're selling out everywhere. And it's because they keep politics out of it. They don't want politics in it. They know people want to go there to get away from the news and the politics. They want to go there and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what everybody seems to be losing sight of. And, it's not even just the politicization on the left. Because I'm going to say something that I'm not sure everybody's aware of. Because everybody, we get all happy when we go to a football game and they have, the big military flyovers and this, that, and the other. Do you know how much we're paying for them to do that? You know how much the federal government is paying to folks like the NFL and NASCAR to do those flyovers? Which means we're paying for it? I mean, look, I get it. We're patriotic. But to me, we don't need the flyovers, the 500-foot flags. Just do the national anthem and get on with whatever you're going to do. Because we're broke as a country. Our national debt is continuing to climb under this administration, which is exactly what we said it wasn't going to do. We were told it wasn't going to do. We've now topped $20 trillion at this point and climbing?
Over $20 trillion now.
When does the balloon pop, folks?
Yeah, and you make a good point. I mean, yes, for something special like the Super Bowl or, the Daytona 500. But yeah, I mean, I go to the Bank of America 500 here in Charlotte, and we get a flyover. It's cool. It's really cool to watch. Do I need it? Not really. I mean, NASCAR, I will tell you, NASCAR does a great job of getting great artists to come in and do the national anthem. That's all I need. That's really all I need. And then let's get on with the race. It's great to hear a great rendition of the national anthem, and let's get on with the race. Like I said, the flyovers are cool, but do I need it? No, I'm there to watch a race. So, I guess that's the choices that need to be made. But like I said, with the NFL right now, I'm really struggling. Last weekend I did watch. I couldn't watch my team, but we put it on. New house. Cooking a big meal and keep football on. It was nice to do, but my interest, I don't sit glued to the TV to watch football anymore. It's actually just become, it's on. Oh, okay, cool. That was a good play. Because the NFL, to be honest with you, has really turned me off.
Well, honestly, I have to admit, the wife and I turned it on this past Sunday because, this is going to sound really weird and somebody's going to threaten to yank my man card. But believe it or not, the wife is a bigger NFL fan than I am. I am an avid college football fan. I love college football. I have never really been a fan of the NFL. Now, it's different if I go to a game in person, which I used to be able to do when I was a teenager. We lived in Seattle. We went to pretty much... there were times we might as well have had season tickets because it's like every time they were in town, dude, we were there. And it was great in person because it was just a completely different energy. But if I try to watch professional football on TV, I fall asleep. So it's exactly what I did Sunday. The wife was watching football. I fell asleep. She fell asleep. We woke up. We watched the next game for a little bit. Both of us fell back asleep again. And I'm just like, typical Sunday with football, and I'm sleeping my Sunday away.
Well, yeah, and I'm a football fan, and now bigger. I have a really is a, and I haven't become an Iowa fan, but she's just such a rabid Iowa fan. I've actually found that I love sitting and watch Iowa games with her because she just goes nuts. And I go nuts for my teams. I've got a couple of college teams I really like, but watching her and watching how just absolutely, like I said, it's great. And we've sat with her and her husband and watched the Iowa games, and it's a blast. And watching Iowa play football,
All right, well, believe it or not, we're about out of time anyway, so I think that may have been the internet's way of telling me we were about done. So why don't you remind folks where it is that they can hang out with you when you're not on the radio hanging out with me?
You can find me on Twitter at MadFeist, F-I-E-S-T. Yes, that's spelled wrong, and it is Feist the dog, but don't spell it that way. It's MadFeist, and you can find me on Facebook, and it's just Daniel Wright.
All right, and I, of course, am Rick Robinson, otherwise known as AOTR_host. You can follow along with me there on Twitter, or you can shoot me an email at rick@klrnradio.com. Starting next week on America Off the Rails, we actually probably will be doing a weekly mailbag. I'll probably maybe do... Well, of course, mine would be Thursdays because that's my last America Off the Rails show. So at least I won't be completely stealing Dana's idea, but I actually had this idea before I realized she was doing it. So, yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So we're going to start that new feature because I am actually starting to get mail, some positive, mostly negative. The interesting thing is I get negative mail from all sides because I'm either not supporting Trump enough or I shouldn't be supporting Trump at all. So we'll go into some of that next week, probably on Thursday's episode. And, of course, I will be back with you again starting Monday night. And stay tuned this next week. We have a couple of special episodes. We have our sponsor, Liberty Health Share. The executive director is going to be on with us for a couple of shows this next week. So make sure you tune in for those two. And on that note, folks, we are officially out for the night. I'm going to go because my internet is starting to act crazy again. We may or may not be about to be having another outage. Either that or my son really forgot he's not supposed to be playing online while I'm trying to do a broadcast. I'm going to go probably with that problem, too. All right, we're out for the night, folks. Take care. God bless. And just remember, we told you Trump was going to suck.